You have provided consultancy to 15 prime ministers and 7 presidents and ensured their election in 5 continents. One of them is Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu. You worked with Netanyahu years ago, and currently a portion of the world seems to hate him. And it's also possible to say that the opposition in the Israel shares similar sentiment, especially after the judicial reform bill in the country. What is Netanyahu really like? What kind of a politician is he?
Well, I mean, that's a question with a long answer. I can tell you though that he from intellectual standpoint, he's certainly one of the smartest individuals I've ever worked with in a leadership position. The past few months in Israel politically have been very split between the left and the right, but he is thick-skinned and he understands that's part of the political game. However, given what happened on October 7th, you see a unity in Israel, not around the prime minister, but around the state of Israel.
Do you think there is a human tragedy going on in Gaza for the civilian population too? And I'm really curious about your perspective.
I think there is absolutely human tragedy happening in Gaza. There's no doubt about it. But it's not the fault of the Israelis. It's the fault of Hamas and Iran and those who back Hamas. The tragedy that's befallen the people of Gaza is due to Hamas. I will recall for you and to your readers and viewers that, and even Barack Obama said this a few days ago, the Israelis held out the hand of peace to Yasser Arafat and to the Palestinians and to a two-state solution. And the answer over and over again was no. Peace is absolutely the goal. Peace, coexistence is the objective. But you have to have two parties willing to make that peace and have that coexistence. And you cannot have that when one party says, we free Palestine from the river to the sea, and the other party is saying, let's live side by side.
Some believe that this crisis, this state of war, and the resulting situation have become a kind of lifeline for Prime Minister Netanyahu, and who was concerned in domestic politics, as you mentioned. And in contrast, others think that after all this tension is over, everything that happened will be attributed to Netanyahu, and therefore he's playing extra time in his political career. As someone previously advised him, how do you assess this situation and, of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu's future?
So knowing the Prime Minister personally, the way I know him, I think I can say with pretty much 100% certainty that if you could go back to October 7th and tell the Prime Minister he has two choices, the end of his political career or allowing to what happened on October 7th to continue, he would say, I'll take the end of my political career. I would even venture to say that he would give up his life for the lives of the 1,400 people who were murdered. So, whether or not the result of what happened on October 7th means a little bit of political longevity for the Prime Minister, that may be true. But I think when this is over, there will be a day of reckoning and accountability for not just the Prime Minister, but others in leadership.
Israel-Turkey relations, as you know, at the beginning of the conflict, Ankara was in a position to call for restraint on both sides and was pursuing a balanced policy. However, in recent times, a couple of days ago, especially with the increasing bombardment of Gaza Strip and the rising number of the civilian casualties, Turkey's perception has changed, and President Erdogan criticized the Israeli government and Prime Minister Netanyahu with harsh words and stating that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Israel also withdrew its diplomats from Turkey. Do you think that the relations between the two countries, which were normalizing before the Gaza war, are returning to the atmosphere of the Mavi Marmara incident or Davos crisis periods?
Listen, I think President Erdogan's comments will prove to be on the wrong side of history. I don't think there's any doubt that an organization that bakes babies alive in ovens and beheads women and children and cuts open the womb of pregnant women can be anything but a terrorist organization. But I'm always hopeful that both Turkey, the Turkish people, as well as Israel and the Israeli people want a good, strong relationship. And when this is over and things calm down, that we can, get back to a place of cooperation and friendship, because I do think the two countries stand for democracy.